Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact
the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here as always. Today is May 14th. 14th of the month. We are in the astrological sun sign of Taurus, and the moon sign made a transition here from Pisces to Aries. So, quick look at what we're dealing with. Taurus, the Hierophant. This is the spiritual teacher. Hebrew letter associated with this is Va, which means nail or hook, hooking together the spiritual with the physical. Okay, you got that. We've been dealing with this all month. Moon sign for today, Aries. Aries is the emperor. Hebrew letter He, window. The idea of this one is he who sets in order. Key phrase, setting things in order. So once life gives creation to itself, the emperor is the one who oversees all that is created. And then once it is created, he gives it its stamp of approval. Then it moves on to the next phase, and you take the product and you hook the spiritual with it. So everything works together. This would be tarot card number 4. This would be number 5. So they work in succession with each other. So as you just go through the cards. So today we're at the Aries moon sign. So our conscious mind is beginning that new cycle again, because there's cycles and wheels within wheels, all that good stuff. So the transition took place just after midnight into the new moon sign. 2:50 a.m. Mars and Aries were in a sextile. 4:01 a.m. we had a trine between Saturn and Aries. And then as we get to this afternoon, 12:33 p.m., we do have a square. Squares are lessons, and this deals with Venus. So Aries and Venus are going to be at square with each other. Aries and Venus. Aries wants to charge forward, be the pioneer, be the leader, in charge of everything. Venus is about love and imagination. Sometimes there can be great passion between Aries and Mars, but sometimes between Aries and Venus, but sometimes there can be confusion and chaos because there seem to be at different ends of the spectrum. One wants beauty and harmony, one wants aggression and war. When you get them on the same page, all working together to put something out of a passionate nature, it works well. And then tonight, 8:59 p.m., Aries will be in a sextile with Mercury. That means that our communication is going to be stimulated by the energy of what it is that we learn about ourselves, the energy of pioneering, taking charge, and all of that. Okay? So that's what we're dealing with there. If we look at the wheel for today, again, it's always fascinating just to see how things move, the aspects that move slow, the aspects that move fast. Okay. On the Jewish calendar today is called 25 Liar. Omer count day 40 tonight, 41. Next week will be 49. That's the time when we were counting up to. It's the time between the Exodus and the giving of the Torah. Daily thought. As above as below. Looking at your world from above, all is good. Looking at your world from within, things don't always look so nice. Until you connect your world from within to the world above, then the goodness flows downward without distortion. But how do you make that connection? By clinging tightly above, by putting all of your trust in God. Exactly. Trust in God. Trust God. 16% of the way full. It's a waning moon making itself down to a new moon. We'll be there over the next couple of days. Space weather. Solar winds moving 687.8 kilometers per hour. Planetary K-index is up there as well. We're in a storm. It's quiet now. Unsettled over the next 24 to 48 hours. We were in up as high as a 6 prior to this. We got the one big coronal hole, definitely going to be facing our way as it spins around. So over the next couple days, or towards the end of the week, into beginning next week, we should be feeling this solar wind from there. Currently, M-class flare possibility sits at 30%. X-class at 5. Geomagnetic storm activity is dropping, goes from 35 down to 30, 20 down to 10. In the mid latitudes and the high latitudes, looks like things are increasing a little bit, being active, but the other areas, minor and severe, seem to be dropping slightly. And for those of you who may have wondered if we got hit by that asteroid that was going to graze by the planet, we didn't get hit by it. If we did, I'd be telling you a different story right now. But as we know, because we're still here, Earth, we didn't get hit, and an extinction level event hasn't occurred. Probably might have been good if I had told you yesterday, that way you could prepare, but I didn't really think it was going to hit us, so I didn't think it was any necessity that you really, needed to hear any more fear-mongering that we might get hit by something that eventually didn't and wouldn't, and as we now know, we're safe and sound. Okay, that brings us to tonight's sky. Canis Varashi, the hunting dogs, floats near the zenith these evenings inside the curl of the Big Dipper's handle, with the evening sky moonless. Go galaxy hunting here. There's a link there. You can go and see what's up. This will be the sky coming up soon, but did you look at the sky last night? Boy, they sure are bright. Venus is super bright these days, and it looks very, very close. Super bright, super close. Jupiter was out there as well, so it's always good looking at the sky at night, seeing what's going on. You never know when you might catch that UFO flying by. All right, speaking of UFOs, UFO news is up next. Let's do it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Okie doke. Okie dokie. Got a number of stories here for you today, my friends. First story comes to us from Sao Paulo, Brazil. OVNI, luces, rojas in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That means red lights in Sao Paulo. Okay. There's the lights in the sky. Glowing lights were seen over Sao Paulo yesterday near a hole in the clouds. The sky was overcast except for a single place that light shines through. At first, the light looks to be the sun, but we see that the UFOs are near it, so it's possible that the bright light is the mothership. What's your thoughts on this footage? SCW, Scott C. Waring. Alright, we have a video here that's 3 minutes 55 seconds in length. Come to us OVNIs Actualis. And let's jump ahead over here. There they are. Well, let's see. Okay. Red lights in the sky right there. Okay. Pretty cool. I don't know if we've really seen some of this color before. Camera's not being held very straight, is it? There it is. I know people catch these randomly, but if anybody's planning on really doing a good capture, I'd like to say to you the word tripod. It will help immensely. Alright, moving from there, we're going to go to Canadian naval base buzzed by UFO with several witnesses. Now, was this a Canadian base had several witnesses, or was this a UFO that had witnesses in the UFO that witnessed a Canadian base? Which one is it? A couple near Esquimalt, Canada, got raw footage of what they say is a UFO near the Canadian naval base, CFB Esquimalt, on Monday, May 11th. The news, many years ago, always fast to say it's a Venus, it's a weather balloon, it's swamp gas, but we know all the new terms they try to use to discredit UFO sightings. Drone. They had a feeling and looked up. Drones can cause that. I've had such feelings before that it rang true when I looked around and saw the UFOs. What I'm saying is, don't let the shadow government dictate what you think about it. Decide on your own. All right. There we go. Okay. So this is the news report. I'm going to leave it for you to check it out. All right. Moving on. Australian man claims to have seen more than 500 UFOs in his lifetime. UFO expert spots disc-shaped craft speeding high in the Australian desert. Says he's had 500 close encounters. Australian man believes he's captured the emergence of a UFO on camera. Alan Ferguson says the encounter took place near Darwin on Saturday. Mr. Ferguson claims to have seen more than 500 UFOs during his lifetime. I have answers, but information can't be told to the general public, he says. An Australian man believes he spotted an extraterrestrial visitor on Saturday when a UFO emerged from the sky on the Northern Territory. Alan Ferguson captured the close encounter on camera on Saturday morning when an alien spaceship soared above his Acacia Hills property 50 kilometers south of Darwin. The UFO expert who documents sightings from around Asia on his website, UFO Territory, set his camera on a fast-speed loop. If it's not flashes in the sky and it's an annoying, warm gut feeling to go outside, let me know. Mr. Ferguson said his lifelong study of the sky started in the back of his parents' car on a family drive. Here's some of those images. I was about 8 years of age, out in the back of the FC Holden, going home to Albury. I saw one. It was blue, red, white object following the car. Also, when I was 3 years old, my mum had me in her arms, and a UFO was sitting just above the house in Albury. The lights under it started spinning faster, then it shot straight up into the sky. Screams were heard by the neighbors, and it was sighted again over Home Dam. Mr. Ferguson said that the adopted home, the Northern Territory, is a hot spot up there due to a lot of military exercises, he said. Some I've seen could be human military vehicles, no doubt. They are the slow ones, but the ones that take off in a blur, they aren't from here. Okay, more good pictures here. He also said that most people are good about it when he tells them about what he has seen, and only the closed-minded people laugh, but that's their problem. As for the big question, is the truth out there? I have answers, but the information can't be told to the general public. I can't go any more, but it would blow your mind, he says. Okay? There you go. Let's move on to the next story. UFO sighting formations over Sydney, Australia, May 9th. What we have here is a 2-minute, 26-second video about this particular topic, subject, and all of that good stuff from Laszlo Novak, UFO hunter. Okay. And as you know from watching the show, there's been many times we've had Laszlo's videos on, and he does a great job of capturing them. You notice the difference in the quality of the image here? You know, he obviously uses a tripod, so he's not zipping all over the place. And still, even with, you could see that, you know, there's these slight adjustments that have to be made, but there's a lot more stability. So it is really important, if you're going to be capturing UFOs, to do like Laszlo's got going on here. Get yourself a tripod. Get yourself some really good equipment so you can capture it properly, and that way you too can be making videos that everyone will be watching about what you saw. All right, moving on. 2 important UFO photographs that have stood the test of time. This takes us back to a sighting in 1950, McMinnville. In the world of UFOs, a handful of photos have stood the test of time, and some are deemed unexplainable. This story examines 2 such photos taken over McMinnville, Oregon in May of 1950. To see a list of what are considered to be the 10 best UFO photos ever taken, and a list of the 15 most controversial UFO photos ever taken, follow the 2 links. They were just 2 black and white photos taken with a simple Kodak camera by the Yamal County farmers 65 years ago Monday, but the controversy stirred up by those images still lingers in the minds of many. Did the pictures that Paul Trent snapped the evening of May 11, 1950 really show a flying saucer, or were the photos fake, simply a bid by Trent and his wife to jump on board the runaway wagon of UFO mania that gripped the U.S. in the late 40s and early 50s? The McMinnville photos weren't the first reports of UFOs, but they are considered by many who study the topic to be among the best photographic evidence of flying saucers, and even skeptics see them as the best fake photos of flying saucers ever found. The UFO craze in the United States is generally thought to have started 3 years earlier in June 1947, when a Boise salesman flying a small plane near Mount Rainier reported seeing 9 shiny objects flying at high speed near his craft. Over the next few days, his story exploded. It was also the first of the multiple UFO reports around the world. Then in July that year, an Air Force colonel announced that the 509th Bomb Group had captured a flying saucer. His superiors immediately denied the report, but it fed the mania, and for the next several years those sightings and stories led to a cascade of sightings, U.S. Air Force investigations, science fiction books and movies, and a constant stream of claims and rebuttals that still go on today. Then came the Trents and their photos. Trent and his wife Evelyn lived on a farm between McMinnville and Sheridan. On the evening of May 11, Evelyn Trent had been walking back toward her house after feeding some rabbits when she looked up and saw a flying metallic disc moving in their direction. She told her husband, and the 2 took photos of the object, which they said quickly flew away. Trent apparently didn't think too much about the incident because he didn't get the black and white film developed until a few days later, when he had used up the roll, and it wasn't until he had told a friend about the sighting and showed him the photos that the incident was widely reported. The photos soon appeared on the front page of the Telephone Register, which was the local newspaper. Before long, national media was on the story. The Trents became celebrities for a time, and they were flown to New York to appear on TV. They loaned the photo negatives to the International News Service, which circulated them worldwide. Eventually, the photos appeared in Life magazine, which was the nation's largest circulation magazine at the time. The Trents never received any money for the photos, and the negatives weren't returned to them for decades, supposedly having been misplaced by INS or Life. Meanwhile, researcher after researchers looked at the photos and declared them authentic or fake. In 1997, the Trents were interviewed by Brian Dennison of the Oregonian for 50-year anniversary story he and Jim Long, another reporter for the Oregonian, were doing on the UFO craze. Evelyn Trent told Dennison of seeing a magnificent disc hurtling towards the house, handing the camera to her husband, who then took the pictures. But then they were living in a McMinnville apartment and were interviewed together. It was clear that while she was still willing to talk about the sighting, he had enough. The following is from Dennison's and Long stories. After you took the picture of it coming in and going back out, the wind that came down had no motor or no smoke or nothing, just the wind. Saul, there was, she confided to a visitor, no motor or sound or nothing. Paul Trent groaned and stiffened in his recliner. I told you all to forget all about that, he said. I know you did, she said. You told me to forget about it. Quietly, she added, we've been bugged so much. The Trents have both since died, but they never changed the story about the sighting. Okay? And they'd still, to this day, they have a UFO event that takes place in Minnville at the beginning of May. And one last story here. Interview of a man who received instructions to build a time machine from aliens. Date, June 18th, 1964. Jack Webster interviews George Van Tassel, who claims to have been visited by aliens on flying saucers that use anti-gravity technology. During the interview, Van Tassel discusses the formula for time travel taught to him on a visit to a UFO. Here's the video itself. 28 minutes is the length of this video. The amount of it that I'm going to play for you now is 0. I'm going to leave this for you to check out on your own. Okay? So there you have it. That's our UFO news. I'm going to jump away. I'll be back. Stay tuned. And let me get a song for you here. How about if we do this one? Wake up. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. So periodically, I like to play that song. Why? I want to remind people to wake up. I know you do too. It's easy to get caught up in the world and forget about all of what the purpose is. But we're all living this world, and sometimes we sleepwalk through life, and we need to be reminded by others that we need to wake up. We need to pay attention to what's going on. Otherwise, we get lulled into this state of complacency and we forget about really what's taking place. But I can guarantee you this. The powers that be, they're out there training. And they're not falling asleep on the job. And they're, making their plans against the American people. And if we don't wake up, we're going to have a big problem. I thought today I would bring up some random news just in the context of waking up, just to remind us of some things that are very important. So this first piece I'm going to bring up for you here, this piece is of an event that occurred several years back, far enough back that young people today might not even be told about this in schools. Therefore, they might not even realize it exists. But in 2011, 2001, September 11th, an event occurred here in the United States of America. We know it as 9/11, and it was a day when 3 buildings collapsed into their own footprint in New York. We're told that it happened because 2 of them were hit by a plane, but the third one wasn't hit by anything. It just collapsed on its own. After thorough investigation, it's now been more than 14 years, well, 13 for sure, 13 years since that event. There's been thorough investigation by many, many, many organizations who have determined without a shadow of a doubt exactly what happened. And I can tell you that the 9/11 Commission report didn't report what really happened. As a matter of fact, they went on to say that they probably got it wrong and there needed to be a new investigation. However, most people don't realize this because most people haven't taken the time to read the 9/11 Commission report, to even read the summary of the 9/11 Commission report. Their only source of information comes from the mainstream news. And the mainstream news, well, unfortunately, they're not honest with the people. They have their own agenda. They tell you just enough so you think that they're telling you the truth and you're getting something valuable, but then they throw all kind of other nonsense in, and that way it mixes up the whole thing with a lot of confusion. Well, this particular site here is called The Science of 9/11, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. So I wanted to bring you to this site here, lest you forget. And what we have here is a site created by architects and engineers. What is the purpose of this site for architects and engineers? Well, let me tell you what the purpose of this site is. You see, architects design buildings. Architects want to design buildings that are going to be safe for you and I and everyone to go into. An architect would not be a very good architect if he built a building and that building fell down. So after the events of 9/11 occurred, after the 3 Trade Center buildings came down, architects, in particular these architects here at this site, saw the situation and thought, this is a problem. Why did that building fall? And if this building fell, this could be a problem if architects are building buildings that aren't sturdy enough to stand. If a building catches on fire and falls, that's a big problem, so we need to find a way to fix it. So these architects and these engineers looked in to see why the building fell, to make sure that they are building safe buildings. And along their investigation, they found out they built the building correctly. There wasn't any problems with that. The problem that they found was that the building was loaded with explosives and it was blown up, demolished. And then a demolition company came in and cleaned up all of the rubble. And then it was all carted away and it was all melted. Now, if Americans really spent even this degree of time just using their critical thinking, they would realize that when you bring a demolition company called Controlled Demolition to clean up a site where 3 buildings fell, that might be a red flag. When you have all of the other anomalies that occurred throughout the course of this, you would see them as red flags. You would think that if someone would just simply take a picture of a controlled demolition and put it side by side with a picture of the World Trade Center buildings falling, you might get the clue then, because you'd say these are falling the same way. But most Americans are taught to believe the buildings caught fire way up here and then the buildings collapsed. But that's not how buildings collapse, and since then we have seen a few fires. So the point being is, this website is built by engineers and architects who simply want to make sure that us Americans are safe. Can you imagine that? They want to make sure that us Americans are safe when we walk in buildings they create. And so here you go here and you find out all of the information that's been discovered along the way and the people involved. The evidence, you got questions, you got videos, how you can get involved with this, who they are. You got a petition here to be signed. Okay, so make sure you check this out, all right? Architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. The only way we're going to move forward in life, my friends, if we know the truth. If we keep believing all of the lies, it's been more than 13 years, people are still believing the lies. Why? Because it's out of sight, out of mind. We have short attention span in this country. So how does this occur? How do we get to the point where we are lied to like this? I mean, we're smart Americans, aren't we? Well, are we? Really? Seems like we allow ourselves to be fooled a lot more. One of the reasons we are fooled is because of the media program that goes on. You see, we think, or not, let's not make a generalization. A number of people in this country, a good percentage of them, actually believe that when they turn the television on to a news program, that they are actually being honest with you. And if you ask those individuals who are watching that program why they watch it, they will tell you to get the news. But anybody who has spent any amount of time investigating where the news comes from, what is the history of these news organizations, you will find out the same bit of information that everybody else who takes the time to study it. That it's all propaganda, and that news evolved out of need to keep the American public dumbed down about what's going on, to keep them misinformed. And so Council on Foreign Relations came into play. Their agenda was simply to manipulate what goes out to the people. Over the course of years, there have been bills and laws and things put in place so that the media can use propaganda against the American people. Yet the American people are clueless about this. So we watch TV and we see things of beheadings and people caught on fire and all kind of other stuff, and we believe it's real. We hear stories about ISIS and we don't ask twice about what's going on, but you can easily go find that ISIS is an American institution, an American intelligence organization. We have Al Qaeda that we're fighting against, and yet we forget about the fact that America created the Al Qaeda. On and on and on. The problems that we have are all manipulated, and the propaganda about what's going on is told to the American people. And yes, there are situations where they actually go from the news to places like the Pentagon. Today in the Pentagon, we're going to tell you exactly what's going on because we never lie to you at the Pentagon. You know, really? Their job is to not tell you the truth. Okay? So when organizations that are connected with the alphabet agencies and connected with the military-industrial complex come on, they're not telling you really what's taking place. And if you believe that, somebody has sold you a bill of goods. So stop believing that. And if your friends believe that, tell them to stop. Here is a story called Truth, War Propaganda, CIA and Media Manipulation. And this deals exactly with the situation at hand. Let me read some of this here. Never before has it been so important to have independent, honest voices and sources of information. We are, as a society, inundated and overwhelmed with a flood of information from a wide variety of sources. But these sources of information, by and large, serve the powerful interest in the individuals that own them. The main sources of information for both public and official consumption include the mainstream media, alternative media, academia, and think tanks. The mainstream media is the most obvious in its inherent bias and manipulation. The mainstream media is owned directly by large multinational corporations and through the board of directors are connected with a plethora of other major global corporations and elite interests. An example of these connections can be seen through the board of Time Warner. Time Warner owns Time Magazine, HBO, Warner Brothers, and CNN, among many others. The board of directors include individuals past or presently affiliated with the Council on Foreign Relations, the IMF, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Wahlberg, Pincus, Philip Morris, and AMR Corporation, among many others. Okay, this just kind of gives you an idea of the involvement. You can easily scour the internet. Look up CIA and media manipulation. You'll find videos that go back to the 70s talking about the manipulation and the CIA having members of their organization involved with all the major media outlets and the television organizations and so on and so forth. It's one big manipulation that has been going on for a long, long time. Now, what's the problem with media manipulation? The problem is people become misinformed by what's going on. There's a narrative that they have, a narrative, a narration, what it is that they're broadcasting out to the people. And if it goes on and it's a false narrative, guess what? The people are receiving false information. Right now, there's a false narrative go on. The false narrative is that there is a race war that's taking place. Why? Because they're trying to push a race war. They're trying to push the buttons. How do you push the buttons of a race war? You get the people of the different races. You get the ones who are the most riled up and extreme of those, and you find ways to get their small-minded thinking all working together so that they want to fight with each other for no reason other than you riled them up and you know that they're too dumb to understand what's going on and they just act accordingly. So we have these individuals out there who are fighting with each other because their skin color is different. Go figure, that's kind of silly. But nonetheless, it is happening here in America and around the world. It didn't start here in America. It started in other places. It continued in America just like we were taught in other places. So that being the case, I thought today I would bring up a few other stories of media manipulation that's taking place that we need to hear about, because if we don't, well, we're just going to continue to be misinformed. So I'm going to talk about a subject now that is taboo. I never talk about subjects that are taboo. Oh, wait, I talk about subjects that are taboo almost every day, so never mind. Here's another one. These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes. Okay, here's another one. Okay? I didn't write this. I'm just presenting you the story because this isn't something people are told, and I brought this up before, but check this out. America's first slave owner was a black man. The first slave owner in America was not only a black man, but he went to court and demanded it. In 1654, it was time for Anthony Johnson to release John Castor, a black indentured servant. Instead, Anthony told Castor that he was extending his time. Castor left, became employed by the free white man, Robert Parker. Anthony Johnson sued Robert Parker in the Northampton court in 1654, and in 1655 the court ruled that Anthony Johnson could hold John Castor indefinitely. The court gave judicial sanction for blacks to own a slave of their own race. Thus Castor became the first permanent slave and Johnson the first slave owner. You know what's missing from that equation? White people. Okay? So the media is not telling you this. They want you to believe this is a race war. If I was a member of a community, if I knew and when I learned the stories about how whites have enslaved other whites, it doesn't make me very happy to know that. I think it's stupid. And I wonder why ancestors of white people have allowed that with themselves. I think the same thing when I think of other races and how they've allowed that. The question I have is, why is it that the black community is so willing to overlook this and just wants to blame other races for their problems? Blacks were enslaved by other blacks in Africa. They were sold for trinkets and rum. They were brought to America. They were indentured servants. And then Anthony Johnson, the first legal slave, the first slave owner is a black man, not a white man. That's a big problem when the media is pushing the narrative that's the opposite way. When you have young kids that are growing up believing the misinformation that is being spread to them. History then has its problems because we're not learning the truth. Here's another article that is also significant to this mix here. Did black people own slaves? Says William Ellison's fascinating story is told by Michael Johnson and James L. Rourke in the book Black Masters, a free family of color in the Old South. At his death on the eve of the Civil War, Ellison was wealthier than 9 out of 10 white people in South Carolina. He was born in 1790 as a slave on a plantation in the Fairfield district of the state, far up country from Charleston in 1816, and then at the age of 26 he bought his own freedom and soon bought his wife and their child. In 1822 he opened his own cotton gin and soon became quite wealthy. By his death in 1860 he owned 900 acres of land and 63 slaves. Not one of his slaves was allowed to purchase his or her own freedom. Okay, so here we have a story of a black man who had 63 slaves, and even though he was given his freedom wouldn't allow it to his. And you go through here, and there's lists of slaves and black families that own slaves. Here you have a story of a free black in Tribune County, Kentucky, sold his own son and daughter for $1,000, the other for $1,200. Here's a Maryland father sold his slave children in order to purchase his wife. A Columbus, Georgia black woman, Disley Pope, owned her husband. He offered her in some way and she sold him. On and on and on. Folks, this isn't the narrative being told in the mainstream news, is it? That is not the narrative at all. I'm not pointing this out so you could say, Josh, you're being racist. That's not the idea. I'm pointing this out so someone might say, wow, this is important to know. Because this is the opposite story what's going on. We have young black families and young black kids who believe that white people brought them to America. No, that's not how it happened. You have young black families who think that whites were the only ones who had slaves. No, that's not what happened. So perhaps if the education gets out there and these young families are taught the truth of what went on, they might understand that they themselves, just like whites, have also been involved with something atrocious. And they should learn from their past so they don't repeat those same mistakes. But instead, the narrative that is being pushed makes it look like they've never done anything wrong and that every other race owes them something. Well, that's not true. There are many people in this country whose skin color is white, whose ancestors didn't arrive into America till after the 1900s, well after slavery was over. And as far as I understand, and just throwing this out there, after Abraham Lincoln, the whole Emancipation Proclamation and the blacks were freed, after that, as far as I understand, he was going to send them and wanted to send them all down to Central America. He wanted to originally send them back to Africa, but he knew that they weren't going to accept them back there since they were traded out of Africa by other blacks. So he knew that they weren't going to accept them back. So he was going to send them down to Central America. But he was assassinated, so that never went into effect. It's one of the things about Abraham Lincoln that really isn't talked about a lot, but that's part of the history. Look it up. So, have we really gone so far down that we don't know how to look at a situation of our history anymore? Are we really in a time where we're going to accept this continued violence from the various races because of misinformation? I certainly hope that we're further along, because it seems really counterproductive to live in a world where there's so much hatred and people of one skin color wanting to kill another skin color and the other one wanting to do the same. And we're well past that, folks. We're so far past that. But not everybody is. So I just think that we need to understand, doesn't matter if you're black or white or red or yellow or brown or whatever color you are, within your own race, there are idiots. Okay? So we just have to learn to stop lumping everyone together in colors and just saying, idiots come in all colors. And every race has within it idiots. So we have to learn to differentiate ourselves from whether we're being idiotic and we're part of that minority, or whether we're going to choose to be part of those who are evolving ourselves and want to raise up. And when we do that, we'll find that there are those of all colors that are rising themselves up. Because not everybody's bad. It's a small minority, and as I've pointed out to you through some of the media manipulation articles, and I hope you go read more, people are being lied to. And as they're being lied to, they're not understanding truly what's going on, because they're believing the lie. And one last piece here, pictures, family pictures of young Barack and Michelle. These are ones we've been shown. And these pictures are all shown to be faked. And there's anomalies pointed out. And you can go through these anomalies and see. I mean, here's one. You can see, here's his arm going down here. Okay, you can see where his arm is going down. And yet, his hand is up here. So, okay, how'd that get there? Scroll down here. Here's another one. That's kind of weird. Here they're showing the same father here and here, but in one case, here's his hand and here's his hand. A little bit difference. You go down here and here's a picture of supposed to be little Barack and his mother. When you zoom in, look at his mother's hand. His mother went from being a white lady to a woman with a black hand. So, how did that happen? And look at old Michelle here. This is Michelle, supposed to be her prom picture. Look at her. You know, do you believe that's a prom picture? And you're this age, mom lets you out of the house, and you're in high school with the dress slit all the way up to there? I don't think so. I think there'd be a little bit more conservativeness going on. Anyway, right there, what is this? What is this, huh? That means the picture was doctored. That means there was another person standing here behind him. Another person who happened to be the same skin color as he was. She's not, but she simply has the hand that shows that something was going on. Again, manipulation, my friends. Things are being manipulated and doctored, and if we continue to believe the manipulations and the doctorings, we deserve what we get. Stupid is as stupid does, and if we want to believe the stupidity, then guess what that makes us? Stupid. And I personally don't like to be stupid. I try, as a matter of fact, not to be stupid by doing the best I can to educate myself. And I know everyone can do that, because if I can, so can anybody else. Okay, that brings us to our next story here. This is an article over at In5D. 12 manifestations of a high vibration. It's from Andrea Schulman. At our core, we are all made up of energy, and its vibration is simply the movement of our energy through space. Our vibrations are very important because they are responsible for how our lives unfold. Through the law of attraction, we create our entire lives based on vibrations. In the simplest terms, we have a high vibration. We create more of what we want in life. When our energy is low, we create more of what we don't want. It's good to remember our vibrations are always changing over time, and there's nothing inherently wrong with having a low vibration, because low vibrations do serve a valuable function. Low vibrations provide signals to us that our thinking and behaviors are headed in the direction we don't want to go, and these signals can be very useful if we are aware of them. However, it's also useful to know when you have a high vibration so you can celebrate the moment, and make it last a little bit longer. So here we go. Ways and things to notice. 1. Being excited to wake up and start your day. I'm just going to go down the list here. 2. Having good health. 3. Feeling strong. 4. Being able to communicate clearly and effectively. 5. Financial prosperity. 6. Having pleasant interactions with other people. 7. Going with the flow. 8. Time seems to speed up. 9. Expressing kindness and love automatically. 10. Having intuitive or psychic moments. 11. Having feelings of happiness, joy, or elation. 12. Looking your best. Beyond the self-reflection, if you'd like to raise your vibration, it's also very beneficial to act as if your vibration is already high. So spread a little love, find balance in your work, and put on your best outfit. By mimicking the efforts on a high vibration, you can actually trick yourself into raising your vibration to a more optimal level. Okay? It's all about the energy, my friends, all about raising our vibrations. Do we have to work to raise our vibrations? To some degree or another we do. However, the universe is being quite helpful to us because the universe itself is moving right along. The energy is speeding up. So our job is simply to move along with it, get in sync with it, or not. And if we choose to move in sync with it, well, the opportunities are available. All we have to do is tap inside, connect with our energy field, and feel what's going on. It's not a difficult process for anyone who chooses. It's just difficult when we convince ourselves that it's more difficult than it actually is. All right, here's today's message. Comes to us from the angels.
Message from the angels.
May 9th, 2015, by Ann Albers.
The angels.
My dear friends, we love you so very much. We are delighted today as so many of you celebrate your mothers, for no matter whether or not they were the ones you wished they would be, it is because of their openness that you are in the world today enjoying the gift of life. A mother, dear friends, is a soul who is willing to open, surrender, and allow God's love to flow through them in a form that they can only nurture to life, but never control. Being a mother is one of the greatest acts of surrender to love that is possible as a human being. In this fashion, dear ones, you are all mothers, male, female, adult, and child, because you are all capable of opening your minds, bodies, and souls to be impregnated with God's love, to allow God's love to take root within you and grow, in any fashion that this beautiful love wishes to grow. And so today, on the day so many of you celebrate your biological mothers, make a decision that you too will honor the energy of the Divine Mother, by being open, receptive, and nurturing to love. Sit quietly for just a few moments, and pray, Dear God, I am open to your love. I am willing to receive it in any form that you think will delight me, comfort me, heal me, uplift me, and nurture my soul. Allow love to take root in my heart and grow into the form it wishes to grow. Allow love to guide and shape my life. Happy Mother's Day, dear ones. If you are an earthly mother, we send you our deepest love and respect, for it is through your willingness to be open that God's love takes form upon the earth. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels.
All right, very nice message for mothers. Mother's Day. All right, this is our Warrior of the Light message. Today we're on page 71. Page 71. Okay, here we go. Sometimes evil pursues the Warrior of Light, and when it does, he calmly invites it into his tent. He asks evil, do you want to hurt me or use me to hurt others? Evil pretends not to hear. It says that it knows that the darkness in the warrior's soul. It touches wounds that have not yet healed and calls for vengeance. It mentions certain tricks and subtle poisons that will help him destroy his enemies. The Warrior of Light listens. If conversation flags, he encourages evil to continue talking by asking all about its various plans. When he has heard everything, he gets up and leaves. Evil feels so weary and empty after all this talk, he does not have the strength to follow him. Very good. Very good. That brings us to our meditation for today. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath again. Exhale. Another breath. Exhale. Just breathe in and out. And out. And with every breath, feel the energy circulating through your body, going through each and every chakra, filling your body with energy, and feel your energy increasing. Feel the energy filling your body and expanding outward. And notice the color of this energy, and just see the multicoloredness of all of your chakra energy combined in a huge energetic field around your body. Imagine this energy expanding out from where you are, out further and further to fill the space of your room, of your city, of your state, of your country, across the ocean to all of the earth. Just imagine this And let's just imagine sending love this moment to everyone upon the planet. And let's imagine this love stripping away all of the doubts and the fears. Let's imagine love opening the eyes that we may see through the illusions. Let's imagine all of those who are out there telling the lies. They suddenly have their moments of realization that they need to speak the truth and begin doing so. And let us see the world filled with love, so much so that the courage to stand up becomes a very natural occurrence, and one by one people stand up to the truth, for the truth, and what do they believe is real. And as we do this, we notice the illusion falls away, and we see us all standing, walking, living in unity, in love, in peace and happiness. So let's imagine a world of unity, love, peace, and happiness, where all is working well, just as God would have it be. So let our subconscious mind continue on the journey, shining bright the light within us. Let us bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is the show for today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have an opportunity to go back, look at the stories of today. Look at them for what they are. Understand the manipulation that is taking place. If we don't think for ourselves, I can guarantee you there are others out there that will tell you how to think. They're doing it now in the schools with the children. They're not teaching them how to think. They're telling them what to think. And it's continuing on with adults. Whenever the news gets turned on, you're being told how to think rather than... You're being told what to think rather than how to think. So change that. Think for yourselves. Use your critical thinking. If we do that, just imagine where we're going to be. If we use our critical thinking. Imagine that, huh? Might be the opposite of that movie Idiocracy. If you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. Look for it. Remind yourself what can happen with a society that gets so dumbed down. I know it's laughable, but walk around in the world and you'll notice that we seem to be living in that kind of way right now. Because when people are believing all of the stupid things that are being said and buying into all of the lies, then we're just, we're not being very bright and responsible with our abilities. So it's time to fix that, my friends. It's time to fix that and get on board with what we need to do, which is to spread the truth, to spread the love, spread the positivity, and forget about all this other nonsense. And just keep thinking positive. I know that the challenge is out there, but I know if we keep putting out the positive vibes, positive things will happen. I know that. That's it. Trust God, my friends. That's my final 2 words of advice. Trust God. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, you have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.